Inshallah, let's please recite Surat al-Fatiha for the marhumin of the sponsors for tonight's programs, the Razfar, Bahi, Bahin Far, and Al-Hassani families. Inshallah, let's please recite Surat al-Fatiha. So inshallah, a couple of quick announcements before we invite Sheikh Jafar up. We have definitely lots of activities continuing to occur here at Yasin, in addition to the wonderful speeches each night. So tomorrow, last Thursday of the month, inshallah, we'll have our potluck. So please bring a dish to share tomorrow. I know, like, if you're like, I feel like I'm like many others here, always look forward to the Yasin potlucks. MashaAllah, the community always brings out a lot of delicious meals and a variety of good stuff to enjoy. So we'll have that. That'll be for tomorrow. Friday. Yes, the brothers. Yes, thank you. I couldn't remember. Thank you guys. Inshallah, on Friday, uh, after the program late, there's going to be a brothers, the second installment of the brothers sports over in Stanton. We have the gym there from 11 to 2 a.m. So I think first 90 minutes is going to be volleyball. Second 90 minutes from 12:30 to 2 a.m. is going to be basketball, inshallah, this time. I think the brothers that were playing basketball took up the whole 3 hours last time. So the brothers that wanted to do volleyball said, no, we got to get in our volleyball time. So volleyball is going to be first this time, and then afterwards will be basketball, inshallah. So definitely it was a lot of fun. I saw many of you guys there, inshallah. That'll be Friday evening. And then Saturday evening, inshallah, we have the honor to, in addition to Sheikh Jafar, Sheikh Rasul Nagavi, who's speaking at Ahl al-Bayt. Inshallah, after the program there, he's going to come over here and join us for a little Q&A with our youth here after the program on Saturday evening, probably starting later, like around 10:30 or 11. I think we're still confirming the time exactly, but inshallah. So that's Saturday. And also we have our Wali al-Asr Quran competition on Saturday during the day. I know some of the parents will be here for that. The community is welcome to come. The fun part, the Quran bead, will be kind of like between like 4:30 and 5:30. We couldn't push it later, closer to Iftar and Maghrib, because our judges needed to leave. So it's going to be earlier. You're still welcome to come. It'll be like, almost a 90-minute gap before Maghrib time, but there'll be plenty of us here hanging out until then, inshallah. And as far as the moon sighting, of course, we mentioned this year there's very small chance that the moon will be sighted with the naked eye on Saturday night. Very unlikely. So more than likely, Eid will be on Monday. For at least Yasin will be having the Eid program on Monday based on sighting of the moon with the naked eye. We'll send out emails as soon as we hear anything. There's some brothers here from LA that always go up to Mount Wilson and try to sight the moon every year. So we'll wait to hear back from them, inshallah. I think that is all, inshallah. Let us please give Sheikh Jafar our undivided attention and welcome him with a loud salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
For the well-being of the community and others, salat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. For the haste and reappearance of Imam Azman, and even louder, salat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان اللعين الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم به نستعين. الحمد لله الذي جعل الحمد مفتاحا لذكره وسببا للمزيد من فضله ودليلا على آلائه وعظمته. ثم الصلاة والسلام على خير خلقه سيدنا ونبينا وحبيب قلوبنا أبي القاسم المصطفى محمد. اللهم صل على محمد وعلى آله الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين، لا سيما بقية الله في الأرضين، أرواحنا له فدا. أما بعد، فقد قال الله سبحانه وتعالى في كتابه الكريم: بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. رب أوزعني أن أشكر نعمتك التي أنعمت علي وعلى والدي وأن أعمل صالحا ترضاه وأصلح لي في ذريتي إني تبت إليك وإني من المسلمين. صدق الله العلي العظيم. اللهم صل على محمد. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته جميع المؤمنين والمؤمنات. As we continue our discussion about spirituality and the family, verse 15 of Surah Al-Ahqaf, that's chapter 46 of the Quran, verse 15, it provides us a good insight to this idea and this concept of spirituality in a family. And this particular verse, and as well as we read it and we understand it, it presents that spirituality that should be within a family across generations. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and this is at the end of this verse, what I recited, where we make this dua, that Rabbi awzi'ni an ashkura ni'matika allati an'amta alayya wa ala walidayya. So we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for the ability to be thankful and to be grateful for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for the blessing that He has given me and the blessing He has given to my parents. And so when we really reflect upon this, it is speaking about this connection between the generations of a family. That a child prays for that blessing that they have from their parents, and also prays for his own blessings or her own blessings, and also prays for the blessings of the parents as well. And there are many blessings that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala He gives us. One of those blessings, and this is just an aside as well, that we can read in the Sahifatul Sajjadiyah, just even the ability to thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That in itself is a ni'mah. To understand how to thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And this is one of the very beautiful things that Imam Zain al-Abidin alayhi salatu he points out in the dua where he gives thanks. He says that, oh Allah, I give you thanks, and even just being able to thank you and appreciate you, Ya Allah, that in itself needs a thanksgiving. Because we wouldn't know really truly how to thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala unless He has shown us how to thank Him. Again, through His Quran and through the example of Muhammad wa ali Muhammad alayhi wa salatu wa salam. But here in this ayah, so chapter 46, verse 15, that we thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for that blessing that He's given us. One of the blessings that we have, for sure, is our parents. So we thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for the blessing He has given us. We thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for the blessing He's given our parents. And in some sense as well, when we're making this dua as well, one of the things that we have to realize is that we are also one of those ni'mah, one of those blessings that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave to our parents. Not only that, it should instill within ourselves this kind of understanding that if I'm thanking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for my blessings, which is my parents, or if I also have children, I'm thanking Him for my children as well. But as well, if I'm thanking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for the blessings that He's given my parents, and one of those blessings is myself. And that instills within us this idea, this concept that truly if I'm a blessing for my parents, then I have to present myself, I have to interact with them in a way that truly I am a blessing for them, rather than being a hardship or a difficulty or a burden upon my parents. So this ayah is very profound when we think of it that way. Now, we can quite often think about many different blessings. Yes, my parents, mashallah, they were able to have this degree, they were able to do this, they were able to do that. But if we understand it that way, that, I too am a blessing for my parents. That means that I need to be that blessing for my parents. And this is why, also when we look at the ahkam and the rights of a parent, I'll just mention a few points about that we must keep in mind as we, again, try to understand this verse, and especially how it helps us with honing our spirituality for ourselves and also for our parents. One of those things that is our duty, responsibility, is to obey our parents. Not to disrespect our parents. As Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, that don't even say uff to them. That means that as well, when it comes to this idea and this concept of really honing our spirituality, it means that even if, God forbid, or there's some situation where, yes, our parents have become upset with us. They may have said something to us. They may have yelled at us. Again, for the parents, this doesn't give you a green light to yell. No, you shouldn't do that. You should uphold the best of manners in front of your kids. But if that happens, then it is our duty and our responsibility not to even say oof, not to respond to that, not to engage in that, but to have the best of manners before our parents. And being able to do that, and this is, subhanAllah, as some of the ulama, some of the urafa, they state, and this verse in itself, as we will examine it, it is a proof of that. They say that some people think that, if they want to go on a path of suluk, sayyid suluk, go on a path of irfan, they say, we have to make this many du'as, we have to make this many salat, we have to do all of these things. Some of the urafa says, no. It's not, you don't have to do that. Why? Because the purpose of irfan, that purpose of spirituality is to do what? Is to control your nafs. And this is why they say one of the best places to do this is in your own household. In your own household. That if you're being, let's say we're in child and parent, if they're being upset with you, first of all, the parents need to control themselves and interact with their children in the best of manners, but then the child as well, that if this is happening, if they're able to control themselves, that, my parents are upset, they're yelling at me, I don't like them yelling at me, but I'm able to control myself and able to display the best of akhlaq in face of that. And what type of spirituality, what type of connection would that individual have with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? One beautiful example of this that we also see in the life of the Ahlul Bayt, of course, definitely Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. But one example that Imam Zain al-Abidin alayhi salatu wasalam, he shows, of course, not with his parents were ala khuluqin azim as well. But one individual, he said that this person, somehow related to, again, he's Quraysh, and so he said something to Imam Zain al-Abidin, alayhi salatu wasalam, kind of like disrespected him. They say Imam Zain al-Abidin, alayhi salatu wasalam, when he heard this, he didn't say anything. He just listened. When the person finished, Imam Zain al-Abidin, he walked away. Next day, he came to this person in private, because that was in public. He came to this person in private. And he told him, he says that, if what you said about me was true, then that I've been this way, or this is the way you perceive me or interacting with you, then astaghfirullah. I seek forgiveness for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forgive me. But if what you said to me was not true, and this is like tawheen, is tuhma, then may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forgive you. That was the response of Imam Zain al-Abidin alayhi salatu. And that interaction itself, again, led this person to mend his ways. So that one of the best places to, again, to have that suluk, to have that irfan, to have that path towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is within our own households. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He points this out very clearly in Surah Ahqaf. One of the things that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He points out here is that, yes, that even, and again, I just read the latter part of that verse simply to save time, but go back, read that verse. I'll point out the things that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala states, but one of the things that is pointed out that when we are making that dua, and when we are having that interaction with our family members, it doesn't end. It's not something that, oh, you know, when I was a child, when I was a teenager, or when I was this. No. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He points out that when the person balagha arba'in, when the person reaches the age of 40, they're making this dua. Rabbi awza'ni an ashkura ni'mataka allati an'amta alayhi. So having that relationship with family, it's not just something that, oh, at this point we have, later we break that relationship. No, that relationship should maintain for generation after generation. One of the aspects that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He points out here, and this is a very, very beautiful point, that when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He opens this verse, of course, you know, that He talks about the parents, that the parents, you should have that relationship was وَوَصَّيْنَا الْإِنسَانَ بِوَالِدَيْهِ إِحْسَانًا. So we have advised a person to what? To honor his parents. And though He's mentioning this in the beginning, He only gives the example of the mother. To honor your parents, but then He says that these were the toils of the mother. These are the difficulties of the mother. Doesn't mean that the father hasn't done his job or done his share. Yes, he should be doing his share, as we mentioned before, that each individual has a responsibility in that household. Each individual has a right in that household. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He points out this aspect that what? That your mother has carried you Quran. That it was difficult. That time that you were, again, born, that time that you were in the womb of your mother, how many sleepless nights your mother had. And then even when you were born, that how much your mother took care of you, even if she's not getting sleep. Even if she, at times, may be hungry, but she is taking care of you. It's a couple of things that this verse is pointing out and is alluding to. On one hand, for the mothers, that responsibility that the mother takes with carrying the child, with nursing the child, those sleepless nights, according to the riwayat of Ahlul Bayt alayhim salatu wasalam, they said that mother has the reward of someone who is martyred in the way of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Someone who has gone out to defend Islam. Mujahid. She has that reward. And then the riwayat says that if God forbid, Sometimes it happens that maybe in birth or maybe after birth, while that child is still young, that if the mother passes away, and this is even if she passes away of natural causes, they said that she has the reward of a shaheed, a martyr, as if she was martyred in the way of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is, again, the reward of that. That is not a very easy thing for the mother to carry that child. And this is why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He describes it as it's a difficulty, it's a hardship. Yeah, it comes with it. Even as some of the ulama, the urafa, they stated, they said that, alhamdulillah, even some of the women before they are maybe are bearing a child, they may be those who get up at night, they're making their salatul layl, they're doing all these things. He said that if they knew that what the value of that, of getting up at night to take care of the child. They said that, some of the scholars, the advice, says, no, they said the best thing is just make your salat on time. If you're not able, because of taking care of their children, you're not able to make salatul layl. You're not able to make these extra du'as, so that action that you're doing has more weight than those du'as, has more weight than that. Back in one instance as well, they said that Imam Khomeini, his daughter-in-law, when they were gathered in the house, and as she was there in the house, he saw that she was tired. He looked at her face, she was tired. And they had one of the children, she had just had a baby not too long ago. And so Imam Khomeini, rahmatullahi alayhi, he could see her tired, see her kind of maybe struggle in the morning that, it's been a long night. So Imam Khomeini says, listen, he says, I will give you, he says, I want to do a mu'amala with you, a transaction. He says, can I give you the reward of 1 year of salatul layl that I've made for that one night, the thawab that you gained at that one night staying up with your child? He says, are you willing to exchange that? He says, I would love to exchange that. You give me the reward of that one night, I'll give you an entire year of my salatul layl. This is the reward of that. This is the barakah of that. And this is why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, again, He points out, He says, yes, you have goodness, kindness to walidain. But the only example He brings is of the mother, that she carried you for. In difficulty, she gave birth to you. That birthing process was also difficult. And she nursed you and weaned you. That point is a difficult thing. And subhanAllah, when we look at the dua of Imam Zain al-Abidin alayhi salatu wasalam, this is dua 24 of Sahifat al-Sajidiyya. The dua that he makes for his parents. And this is the beauty of the Ahlul Bayt alayhi salatu wasalam, that when we are making their dua, in other words, their conversation with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So what does Imam Zain al-Abidin, he say that when he's like, oh, I'm making this dua for my parents. That, oh Allah, he says, give me that ability, Allahumma ja'alni. He says some things in the middle, but Allahumma ja'alni abarrahuma birral ummar ra'uf. Subhanallah. He says, how should I be towards my parents, my father and my mother? He says, make me such that I am kind to them in a manner that of a birral ummar ra'uf. So give me that kindness of a mother, that kindness that a mother would have towards her children. So Allah, that may I be for my parents like a mother. This is what Imam Zain al-Abidin alayhi salatu says. And this shows you the maqam of motherhood, that difficulty that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He is mentioning. And of course, in that difficulty, in that struggle, that is a place where, again, when we really think about it, that irfan, that suluk, great deal of it is to crush your nafs and to be selfless. And a mother shows that when she's with her child. Right? She's selfless. Not selfish. She's like, oh, hey, my child needs this. Even if she goes without, so, oh, the child needs this. This is what is needed. So there's a very, high maqam for that mother. And so for the child, when we are making that dua, again, for our parents, in some sense, we reflect that action. There's a moment as, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He says this very beautifully about the cycle of life. He says, yes, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He brings us into this world. We're infant. We can't really take care of ourselves. And so our parents are there to take care of us. Our mother, definitely, she's taking care of us. Our father is also taking care of us. He's taking care of the household, as the Prophet of Allah said, that he is what? Ra' ala ahle bayti. That he is the one who's responsible for the entire household. So each one has their duty and their responsibility, but as we make that kind of dua for them, as we begin to take care of them, because we come in an infant stage, we come in a moment that we need help, we can't take care of ourselves. He says, and then He gives us strength. And then we reach to a point, and some of us, alhamdulillah, some people are, even at the elderly age, are very strong and they may pass away without needing that help. But some reach an age where, again, the parents, they can't take care of themselves. It's almost, again, like a stage of infancy. And when they reach that point, then we need to have that ra'fa. We need to have that kindness. We need to have that, as Imam Zain al-Abidin is praying for, that kindness of a mother for them, if they reach to that point. Or even if they don't reach to that point where they need help in every aspect, but we need to have that. And in that, subhanAllah, in that is a great ni'mah. In that is that path towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. One of the ulama in Najaf, he said once he had a dream. And in that dream, he was in the haram of Imam Hussein alayhi salatu wasalam. And as he sat in the haram of Imam Hussein alayhi salatu wasalam, and he's making his dua, he's giving a salutation, he sees a young man enter into the haram of Imam Hussein alayhi salatu wasalam. And as he sees him enter, he sees this young man smile. He has a very nice, pleasant smile on his face. And he kind of just nods his head. And he's smiling. So he clearly wasn't smiling at the Sheikh, this scholar. And so he looks towards the haram of Imam Hussein, towards the Dharih, and he sees that Imam Hussein alayhi salatu wasalam is there. And Imam Hussein alayhi salatu wasalam smiles back at him, nods back at him. And at that point, the Sheikh, he wakes up. He's like, subhanallah, what is this? So the next day, which was Thursday, he decided that, okay, I'm going to go to the haram of Imam Hussein for the Thursday night, Laylatul Jum'ah. So I would go there and I'll make the ziyarat of Imam Hussein. Perhaps, maybe that was the meaning that he needs to come, he needs to make ziyarah. So he goes, he makes it ziyarah. As he's making ziyarah, subhanallah, he sees that young man that he saw in his dream enter into the haram of Imam Hussein alayhi salatu wasalam. And when he entered, he says, he has a smile on his face. He looks towards the shrine of Imam Hussein and he nods his head. But the Sheikh, he looks towards the haram of Imam Hussein, the Dhari, he doesn't see Imam Hussein. Again, he's awake. So this young man, he comes, he gives his salam to Imam Hussein, very short salam, Assalamu alaikum ya Abu Abdullah Hussein, and he walks out. So the Sheikh, he goes, let me see, what is this about? This is the exact person I saw. So he goes after him and he stops him. He says, what was that action that you had? And he tells him about the dream. So this young man said, yes. He says, my parents, when they were alive, he says, his parents had passed away, and his father had recently just passed away. He said that every Thursday, he says, his parents are elderly, I will bring them to the Haram of Imam Hussein every Thursday night. But I would bring them 1 week in rotation. So 1 week was the week of his father, 1 week was the week of his mother. And so 1 week, which was the week of his father, is this, because when I bring them, I put them on, they had donkeys from a village, I put them up there, and I walk and just make sure I'm guiding the donkeys so that they can get there. He said that 1 week as I was coming, it was the week of my father. And my mother, as we were leaving, she began to cry. She was like, take me, I want to go. This is what I told her. I was like, well, this is the week for my father. She said, I'll take you next week. She became upset. She was like, I may not live till next week. Take me. And he was saying, it's a cold day, it's rainy. And of course, this donkey, this little mule they had, it's not going to take two people. So he ends up putting his mother on his back, putting his father on the mule, and he goes to Shrine of Imam Hussein alayhi wasallam in this cold weather, this rainy weather. He says, when I reach to the Haram of Imam Hussein alayhi wasallam, and I bring my mother down, my father down, my mother, she's still on my back, I'm walking with him on my hands, carrying my mother on my back. He says, when I enter into the Shrine of Imam Hussein, he says, this is when I see Imam Hussein, that he's there at the shrine. He says, I was astonished. All I could do was smile. And he smiled back. He smiled back. He says, when I took them back, yes, my mother, she passed away. She didn't make it to her week. But I continued to bring my father. And he's just recently passed. He says, but I still come every Laylatul Jummah, every Thursday night. He says, and I see Imam Hussein. I come, I see his smile, I give him salams, and then I return home. And this is the service. He wasn't someone who was making all of these du'as or he had some political problem. No, he was in the khidmah, serving his parents. Just as one of those hadith or riwayat that we have in Kafi, Usul al-Kafi, where one individual, he came to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and he said, Ya Rasulullah, he says, I want to go with you to defend the Muslims, to defend Islam. He says, but my parents are elderly. They're not happy. They told me to stay home and to serve them, because they're elderly. And Rasulullah, he says that if you do that, he says, if you come out and you defend, you may become shaheed. You have some reward. He says, but if you stay home and you're serving your parents because that's what they want, he says, then the one entire year of someone who is with me, defending Islam, who's a mujahid, he says, you have that reward in one night. In one night. One night staying home with your parents. SubhanAllah. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he says, well, وَوَصَّيْنَا الْإِنسَانَ بِالْوَالِدَيْهِ إِحْسَانًا. That to be kind to your parents. To be kind to us. This is what he's pointing out. That what is the barakah? What is the reward for that? That it is not a light feed. It's something that, as I said, you want to hone your spirituality. You want to be on that path of, as I say, Sayru Suluk Irfan. Again, it's part of your everyday life. This is what some of the it's part of your everyday life, but you have to understand that. You have to understand that, look, this service, one that the parents has for their children, the service that the children have for their parents, it will take you to that maqam. And when a person understands that, again, they make that dua that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala points out. رَبِّ أَوْزِعْنِي أَنْ أَشْكُرَ نِعْمَتَكَ الَّتِي أَنْعَمْتَ عَلَيَّ وَعَلَى وَالِدَيَّ. That, oh Allah, allow me to thank you for that blessing, that ni'mah that you have given to me and given me to given to my parents. That ni'mah is that ability, or at least to understand that khidmah, as I say, that servitude, that being in the service of your parents or being in the service of your children. But being in service of them to do what? To, and as we've been saying, to connect them to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to stay on the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Sallu ala Muhammad. Inshallah, there's another part of this verse that I want to explain and outline, but inshallah we'll do that tomorrow since the time is basically up. We're trying to not to take too much time, of course, and tomorrow's also a work day. But also it's, again, a very beautiful aspect that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He is teaching us here to move together as a family, that ability and that path to connect to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is right in our homes. That doesn't mean that we don't do extra, yes, if we can. Yes, make those du'as, make those salats. But if we're making those du'as and we're making those salats and we're doing all of these things, but our household is in shambles, we're not fulfilling the basic rights, the basic duties that we have in our household, then how far can we expect to go? But if we're fulfilling those as these examples I've been giving you, not only in the riwayat of Ahlul Bayt alayhim afsatu wasalam, but the examples that even the ulama alayhim afsatu wasalam, they have seen that if we are fulfilling that, maybe we not get to all of those du'as, maybe we not get to all of those salat, then what will happen? Yes, we're able to connect to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Our spirituality is able to grow. And we pray that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala continues to guide us by the wisdom of His Quran, by the example of His of the Ahlul Bayt, Muhammad wa Ali Muhammad alayhim afsalatu wassalam. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم اللهم كل وليك الحجة بن الحسن صلواتك عليه وعلى آبائه في هذه الساعة وفي كل ساعة وليا وحافظا وقائدا وناصرا ودليلا وعينا حتى تسكنه أرضك توعا وتمتعه فيها طويلا برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. اللهم